Something just shook the entire music industry to its core, and people are already calling it the most unforgettable night in award show history. A night where one man stepped on stage and did the impossible. That man, Kendrick Lamar. For over 40 years, one record stood untouched. A record owned by none other than the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. In 1984, MJ made history at the American Music Awards by winning 8 trophies in one night, a sweep so legendary that no artist since had managed to break it. Not Beyoncé, not Drake, not Taylor Swift, nobody. It was considered untouchable, sacred until now. Because at the 2025 AMs, Kendrick Lamar didn't just win, he shattered expectations and broke the very ceiling the industry thought could never be cracked. Walking away with 9 awards, including Artist of the Year, Best Hip Hop Album, and the brand new Cultural Impact Award, Kendrick officially surpassed Michael Jackson's iconic record. The audience? Stunned. The industry? Silent. The internet? Exploding. And just when it seemed like the moment couldn't get any bigger, Kendrick took the stage one final time. No dancers, no glittering suit, no spectacle. Just him in a black hoodie, holding the mic and 7 chilling words. This ain't just music. This is war. The arena froze. Some fans erupted into cheers. Others sat in disbelief, unsure whether they had just witnessed the coronation of a new king or the beginning of something far more controversial. Social media immediately split into camps. Hashtag Kendrick vs MJ, hashtag the record is broken, and hashtag Kendrick 225 AMA all trended worldwide. Within minutes, and the reactions weren't just from fans. Insiders revealed that even the AMA's organizers were nervous about letting this record-breaking moment air live. Some executives feared the backlash of announcing that a conscious hip-hop artist dethroned the most celebrated pop icon in history. But in the end, the decision was made. Let the world see it now. The question isn't just about who won more trophies. It's about legacy. It's about power. It's about whether Kendrick Lamar just claimed the ultimate crown in music, or lit the fuse on a cultural war that will shake the industry forever. The energy inside the 2025 American Music Awards was already electric. Lights flashing, cameras rolling, fans screaming, but no one could have predicted how the night would unfold. By the end of it, a single name was on everyone's lips: Kendrick Lamar. This wasn't just another victory lap. This was history, being rewritten in real time. For decades, Michael Jackson's 1984 AMA sweep was considered one of the greatest achievements in award show history. 8 wins in a single night. Thriller at its peak. A cultural explosion that became untouchable. No artist had ever crossed that line. But then came Kendrick. With 9 awards in one evening, he did the unthinkable. Artist of the Year, Best Hip Hop Album, the newly introduced Cultural Impact Award, one by one. His name was called, and the crowd slowly realized what was happening. The impossible was becoming reality. The room filled with a strange mix of awe and disbelief. Some cheered louder with each win. Others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Watching a hip-hop artist not only dominate the night, but dethrone the king of pop himself. And then, the moment that sealed it all. Kendrick walked up to accept his 9th and final award. Glittering outfit. No choreographed spectacle. Just a black hoodie, a microphone, and silence. He stood there for 15 full seconds before finally speaking. This ain't just music. This is war. Those 7 words hit like a lightning strike. The audience froze. Fans in the arena didn't know whether to clap, cry, or just sit. Stunned. Social media exploded instantly. Within 30 minutes, hashtags like hashtag Kendrick vs MJ and hashtag the record is broken were trending worldwide. But this was bigger than a record. This was a cultural earthquake. Because if Michael Jackson represented the gold standard of legacy, perfection, and timelessness, what did it mean that Kendrick Lamar had just surpassed him? To understand the weight of this moment, you have to go back. Back to where the story really began. In 1984, Michael Jackson was untouchable. Fresh off the success of Thriller, he walked into the AMAs and left with 8 trophies. That sweep was more than just numbers. It was a symbol, a reminder that MJ wasn't just an entertainer. He was a phenomenon. His wins became the ultimate measuring stick for every artist who came after. And over the years, many tried. Beyoncé, Kanye, Drake, Taylor. None of them could touch it. MJ's record lived on as a holy grail, a piece of music history frozen in time until Kendrick walked in. But what makes this moment so surreal is that Kendrick didn't do it with glossy pop hits or viral dance tracks. His 2024 album, The 11th Hour, was raw, political, and deeply personal, dissecting fame, fear, family, and power with razor-sharp precision. It wasn't designed for award season. It wasn't made for radio. But it smashed everything in its path. Critics called it revolutionary. Fans said it was his magnum opus. And when the AMA nominations dropped, Kendrick's name was everywhere. Still, nobody actually believed he could surpass MJ's sacred record. It was too big, too legendary, untouchable. But Kendrick had other plans. Because this wasn't just about awards. This was about something much larger, a mission he had been building for more than a decade. From Good Kid, Mad City to Damn, to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Kendrick has spent his career peeling back the layers of his mind, his community, his trauma, and his vision. Each album wasn't just music. It was a manifesto. And on that, Ama's stage, in front of the world. It all came full circle. The moment Kendrick Lamar walked off stage with his 9th trophy, the ripple effect began. Inside the theater, some artists clapped like their lives depended on it. Others stayed stiff, their smiles forced, their eyes shifting toward the cameras to make sure they weren't caught looking bitter. Because the truth was simple: the impossible had just happened. And not everyone wanted to celebrate it. One of the most talked about reactions came from none other than Paris Jackson, Michael's daughter. Seated just a few rows from the front, she had been smiling politely through most of the night. But when Kendrick's record-breaking win was announced, the cameras cut to her, and the look on her face told a story that words couldn't capture. It wasn't anger, it wasn't joy. It was something in between. A mix of disbelief and quiet pain, as though a piece of her father's legacy had just been chipped away on live television. Within minutes, clips of Paris's reaction went viral. Fans debated endlessly. Was she upset? Was she proud that another black artist had carried the torch? Or was she simply stunned like everyone else? But while the internet speculated, insiders revealed what really went down backstage. According to multiple witnesses, Paris left her seat after Kendrick's final acceptance speech and headed straight for the private family lounge. One insider claimed she was seen with tears in her eyes, whispering to a close friend. Those words spread like wildfire online. Whether she truly said them or not, they tapped into the heart of the controversy. This wasn't just about a record. This was about legacy, because Michael Jackson's dominance at the 1984 AMAs wasn't just numbers on paper. It was an event that defined an era, a peak moment for one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived. To see that achievement surpassed, not by another pop titan, but by a rapper with politically charged, sometimes polarizing music was jarring for many. And Paris wasn't the only one shaken. AMA organizers themselves were scrambling. Sources say that in the control room, executives were frantically discussing whether to lean into Kendrick's achievement or downplay it. On one hand, this was ratings gold. Social media engagement. was exploding. On the other hand, they knew they had just overseen the dethroning of the king of pop on their stage. Sponsors worried too. Some feared backlash from older fans, particularly those who saw Michael Jackson not just as an artist, but as a cultural monument. Rewriting history in one night could spark division, and division is risky for business. Meanwhile, outside the venue, fans clashed in real time. Protesters carrying signs that read "MJ Forever" gathered near the red carpet exit, chanting that no one would ever surpass Michael's throne. Across the street, a younger crowd shouted back, celebrating Kendrick as the voice of a new generation. It was more than a music debate. It was generational warfare, and online. The firestorm was even bigger. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram were flooded with side-by-side comparisons of Kendrick and MJ. Dance, moves versus lyrics, moonwalk versus metaphors, pop supremacy versus hip-hop, revolution. Everyone had an opinion, and nobody was backing down. One viral post summed it up. Michael gave us magic. Kendrick gave us truth. Which one really lasts longer? The battle lines were drawn. To some, Kendrick's 9 wins were proof that hip-hop had finally conquered the mainstream in a way no one could deny. To others, it was sacrilege, a rewriting of history that disrespected the man who changed music forever. And through it all, Kendrick stayed silent. He didn't tweet. He didn't post on Instagram. No interviews, no victory lap, just silence. As if he knew that the louder the world argued, the more powerful his statement became. But behind that silence, a storm was brewing. Because while fans were busy debating, the real question lingered. What did this moment mean for the future of music itself? To really understand why Kendrick Lamar's win hit like an earthquake, you have to rewind the clock. Back to 1984, Michael Jackson had just released Thriller, the album that would become the best-selling record in history. The world wasn't just listening to Michael, it was orbiting around him. Every move he made, every outfit he wore, every step of the moonwalk felt like it came from another planet. At the 1984 American Music Awards, Michael walked away with 8 trophies. 8, a number so outrageous, so untouchable, that it instantly became legend. For decades, no one came close. Pop stars rose and fell. New genres dominated radio. But MJ's record stood like an unshakable monument. That's why, for millions of fans, it wasn't just a record. It was proof that Michael wasn't just an entertainer. He was the entertainer. Fast forward to 2025, and you see Kendrick Lamar standing on that very stage, holding 9 awards in his hands. On paper, it looked simple. One artist surpassed another. But under the surface, it was something far bigger, because Michael Jackson and Kendrick Lamar represent 2 completely different visions of what music is supposed to do. Michael was about escapism. He gave people magic, glitter, a larger-than-life fantasy. In the middle of the 1980s, when the world was drowning in Cold War fears and economic struggles, Michael's music was a ticket out. 3 minutes of joy, spectacle, and perfection. Kendrick, on the other hand, is about confrontation. He doesn't hand you a dream. He forces you to face reality, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Police brutality, systemic racism, mental health, faith, violence. Kendrick's music doesn't look away, stares directly into the fire. So when he broke Michael's record, the symbolism was explosive. It wasn't just that a rapper finally surpassed the king of pop. It was that America, and maybe the whole world, had shifted from escapism to realism, from dancing away the pain to dissecting it in raw detail. Cultural critics were quick to jump on the moment. One New York Times headline the next morning read, "The Moonwalk Meets the Mirror." Why Kendrick Lamar's AMA's triumph signals a new era. And that's exactly what it felt like. A mirror had been held up to the music industry. But for Michael's die-hard fans, the comparison was insulting. To them, the two men couldn't even be mentioned in the same breath. Michael changed fashion, dance, music videos, stage performance, entire dimensions of entertainment. He wasn't just a musician, he was an architect of pop culture. Kendrick, they argued, could never reach that kind of global, universal dominance. His music is dense, layered, sometimes polarizing. You can't moonwalk too, all right? You can't dress up as King Kunta for Halloween. He wasn't an icon in the same way, at least, not yet. But Kendrick's supporters fired back. They pointed out that Michael had the benefit of a pre-digital world, where attention wasn't fragmented by social media. Today's artists fight for scraps of focus in an endless content flood. For Kendrick to rise above all that, with music that wasn't even designed for mass consumption, was arguably even more impressive. One fan put it best in a viral TikTok: Michael made the world dance. Kendrick made the world listen. Which one is harder? And that's where the clash of legacies really burns. Michael was spectacle. Kendrick is substance. Both are rare, both are powerful, but only one of them just rewrote the AMA record books. The industry itself seemed torn. Veteran producers and old-school pop executives whispered that music was losing its magic. That Kendrick's win symbolized a darker, heavier age for art. Younger execs, meanwhile, saw dollar signs. If Kendrick could dominate with music this complex, maybe the future wasn't about chasing radio hits at all. Maybe it was about authenticity, and authenticity is Kendrick's weapon. He doesn't wear sequined gloves or choreograph stadium-filling dances. He strips himself down and speaks directly to the audience's conscience. He doesn't escape the fire, he walks into it, and he dares you to follow. That's why breaking Michael Jackson's record was more than a trophy count. It was a passing of the torch from one definition of greatness to another, from glitter to grit, from pop stardom to poetic truth. Whether the world was ready for that transition was another story. If you really want to understand Kendrick Lamar's record-breaking AMA night, you have to start with the 11th Hour. Released in late 2024, this album wasn't designed for charts, streams, or viral dance challenges. It was a mission statement, a manifesto. A warning: the album opens with Clockwork, a track layered with ticking sounds, sirens, and a voiceover that repeats, "Time's up." From the first beat, Kendrick signals that this isn't entertainment for entertainment's sake. This is confrontation. This is reflection. This is accountability. Every song on the 11th Hour dissects a different aspect of modern life: political corruption, systemic injustice, family trauma, personal guilt, and the price of fame. It's cinematic, almost militant in its intensity. And while pop music often lulls listeners into comfort, Kendrick pulls them into discomfort, making them feel every weight, every crack, every injustice. Critics quickly labeled it a cultural earthquake disguised as an album. Fans called it a masterclass in lyrical warfare. And when the AMA nominations were announced, Kendrick's name dominated almost every category. But here's the thing: no one thought he could win 9 awards in one night, surpassing Michael Jackson's 1984 sweep. Because the 11th Hour wasn't supposed to be a trophy magnet. Its brilliance lies in its raw honesty, not in mass appeal. Kendrick didn't compromise, didn't water down his vision for radio-friendly hooks or safe themes. He brought depth, and depth doesn't always translate into gold-plated awards. Yet on AMA night, the world had no choice but to acknowledge it. When Kendrick walked on stage to accept his final trophy, the one that officially shattered MJ's record, he didn't wear sequins. He didn't smile for the cameras. He wore a black hoodie, no chains, no entourage, no dancers, just him, a microphone, and a message. This ain't just music. This is war. That 7-word statement became the headline, the meme, the rallying cry. But for those who've listened to the 11th hour, it made perfect sense. Kendrick wasn't just accepting an award. He was declaring battle against the complacency of the music industry, the rewriting of legacy, and the limitations placed on authentic expression. Fans dissected the lyrics for deeper meaning. Lines like "Every crown built on silence is a cage. Waiting to burn and we rise. Even if the throne disagrees, we're suddenly seen in a new light." Kendrick had planned this moment meticulously. The AMA win wasn't just recognition. It was the perfect stage to amplify the album's core message. Insiders revealed that Kendrick's team had calculated exactly how many nominations were needed to make this historic sweep possible. Every performance, every acceptance, every camera angle was orchestrated to maximize impact without overshadowing the music itself. Even the controversial stage set up a wall of burning TVs during his rendition of Mother Tongue was symbolic. The destruction of screens represented a rebellion against commercialized, diluted pop culture. Kendrick wasn't just winning awards. He was forcing the industry and fans alike to confront what music could and should mean. And the reaction was instantaneous. Social media exploded. Critics debated the ethics of comparing him to MJ. Fans hailed him as a revolutionary. Everyone was talking about that one line. This ain't just music. This is war. It wasn't hyperbole. It was literal. Kendrick had used the 11th hour to weaponize his art and a night to deliver it to the world. The album wasn't just a collection of songs, it was a strategic cultural strike. Because while Michael Jackson's records symbolized perfection, spectacle, and escape, Kendrick's The 11th Hour and his AMA performance symbolized truth, confrontation, and evolution. The stage, the trophy, the words, all aligned with the album's vision. And now, the industry had to reckon with it, erupted. Within minutes, social media became a battlefield. Hashtags trended globally. Hashtag Team Kendrick, hashtag Protect MJ, hashtag The Record is Broken. Fans split into camps almost instantly. Some hailed Kendrick as a revolutionary, the first artist in a generation to challenge both the industry and the legacy of a global icon while staying unapologetically true to his art. Others accused him of overstepping, calling the AMA sweep disrespectful and an unnecessary provocation. Celebrity reactions poured in fast. Chris Brown went live on Instagram for 45 minutes, carefully dissecting the achievement. Kendrick dope, no doubt. But don't play like MJ didn't do it all first. Numbers aren't everything. Was the speech. Meanwhile, Says, who had performed alongside Kendrick at the AMAs, posted on X, "You don't have to kill your heroes, but you should be brave enough to become one." Tyler, the creator, tweeted, "If we never let the next great be greater, we'll die worshiping ghosts." Even Nas weighed in during an interview. Kendrick broke through a ceiling most rappers never even see. That scares people, especially when the throne ain't built for us. But the Jackson family didn't stay silent either. Paris Jackson posted a series of Instagram stories condemning the act, emphasizing respect, legacy, and impact beyond trophies. "My father gave his entire soul to this industry. Respect is not optional. Legacy isn't competition. Some things should never be touched." The contrast could not have been starker. Kendrick's win symbolized rebellion and evolution, while MJ's legacy represented reverence and tradition. The debate extended beyond fans and celebrities. Even brands and media outlets joined the discussion. YouTube Music launched a playlist titled "The Crown, Past, Present, Next," featuring MJ, Kendrick, and then Silence, a subtle nod to the ongoing battle for cultural dominance. Meanwhile, Reddit and TikTok became arenas of micro-debates. Users dissected every AMA performance, every lyric from the 11th hour, and every move Kendrick made on stage. One viral TikTok pointed out, "MJ made the world. Dance, Kendrick made the world listen." Which one is harder? Public opinion fractured further when whispers of leaks and internal AMA emails emerged online. Reportedly, producers had debated whether Kendrick should even be allowed to surpass Michael Jackson live on stage. Some suggested pre-taping to avoid backlash. Others worried older audiences wouldn't accept a conscious hip-hop artist dethroning a legend, yet the AMA went live. The stage, the performance, the awards, all of it became a statement of defiance. Kendrick didn't just win, he commanded attention, forcing every observer to confront the clash of eras, the evolution of music, and the meaning of legacy itself. The fan wars intensified. Team Kendrick supporters flooded AMAs, Spotify, and YouTube comment sections with praise, emphasizing authenticity, artistry, and cultural relevance. #ProtectMJ advocates reminded everyone of Michael's lasting impact, insisting no one could truly replace him. And the media, divided, Rolling Stone called it a historic moment long overdue. Billboard questioned, did Kendrick break a record or just break the peace? Late-night hosts had a field day, highlighting the tension with wit, satire, and a mix of admiration and disbelief. Brands, influencers, and pop culture commentators amplified the chaos. The conversation wasn't just about trophies anymore. It was about who controls narrative, who shapes legacy, and who decides greatness. The AMA stage had become a battlefield. Kendrick's win was no longer a simple victory. It had triggered a global cultural debate, pitting tradition against evolution, spectacle against substance, and reverence against rebellion. And in the shadows, the industry braced for the next moves. Leaks hinted at Kendrick's upcoming visual project, rumored to further challenge the idea of inherited icons versus earned status. Social media waited with bated breath. Fans and critics alike were already anticipating the next chapter of this war. The record had been broken, but the battle for music's soul had just begun as the dust from the AMA chaos settled. Few realized that Kendrick Lamar's real move was yet to come. While fans argued, celebrities weighed in, and the Jackson estate deliberated. Kendrick had quietly set the stage for something bigger, a cinematic statement that would redefine his AMA win and challenge the very notion of untouchable icons. Rumors of a short film had been circulating, but no one knew the full story until the unannounced drop, King's Disease. A black screen opened with a single line, "For every crown built too early, there's one forged in silence." From there, the visual journey began. A deserted museum, dust drifting through sunlight, empty frames hanging on crumbling walls. Then a golden statue appeared, towering, angelic, eerily reminiscent of a pop legend. Slowly, cracks spread across its surface. Pieces fell to the ground. The figure of Kendrick Lamar emerged from the shadows, barefoot, in a black hoodie, carrying nothing but a notebook. There was no narration, no music, no spectacle. Every step, every movement, every gesture spoke volumes. He walked among the ruins of symbols, trophies, and idols, silently declaring that legacy is earned, not inherited. When he placed his notebook on the broken throne, it ignited flames, consuming the pages as the screen faded to black. This was never about taking the crown. It was about burning the cage it came in. The internet exploded. Within minutes, #King's Disease trended in dozens of countries. Fans, critics, and celebrities alike dissected every frame, every metaphor, every intentional detail. Some hailed it as genius, a bold challenge to industry norms. Others called it blasphemous, accusing Kendrick of disrespecting legends. But no. One could deny the impact. The AMA win had been monumental, but the short film made it transformational. Insiders revealed that the project had been planned months in advance. Every AMA performance, every camera angle, every stage prop had been calculated to feed into the film's narrative. The burning TVs during Mother Tongue, the stripped-down acceptance speech, all deliberate, all building toward a symbolic overthrow of commercialized pop culture and gatekeeping. Even the Jackson estate had to respond. Paris, Jackson, and other family members weighed in, emphasizing that legacy is timeless and cannot be measured by numbers alone. But Kendrick's point was clear. He wasn't erasing history, he was evolving it. Celebrities continued the debate. Said tweeted, "You don't have to kill your heroes, but you should be brave enough to become one." Tyler, the creator, added, "Legends pave the path. New kings walk it." And Kendrick himself went live late one night, alone in a dark studio. With a single candle flickering behind him, "I respect the legends before me, but I'm not here to be second. I'm not here to be a shadow. If rising makes people uncomfortable, good. That means I'm doing something real." He looked directly at the camera. "Y'all crowned him king of pop. That's fine, but I never wanted that crown. I came for the kingdom." The AMA win, the viral hashtags, the short film, it all culminated in a cultural earthquake. The debate wasn't just about numbers or awards anymore. It was about who decides greatness, who guards legacy, and who dares to evolve it. Even the Grammys took notice. Leaks suggested that Kendrick's short film was submitted for Best Music Film, potentially making him the first artist to simultaneously hold a record, an album, and a music film across 3 categories. The story didn't end with trophies or tweets. It ended with questions, burning, unresolved, and larger than music itself. Can greatness coexist with evolution? Does breaking a record mean breaking respect? Or is Kendrick simply showing that true legacy is defined by impact, not numbers? And in the silence that followed, one thing was undeniable. The king had been crowned, but the kingdom was on fire. Kendrick Lamar hadn't just shattered a record, he had shattered the system, challenged legends, and sparked a generational debate that would define music history. And as this story continues to unfold, one thing's certain: if you want to catch every twist, every new drama, and every record-breaking moment, make sure you're tuned in with Mighty X. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next chapter could drop any second, so stay locked in with Mighty X, the X.